Game one of the 2024 NFL regular season is in the books. The Chiefs outlasted the Ravens, came down to a literal inch, a toe. Yes, the NFL, football, it is a game of inches, as we have seen time and time again. So we've got 10 takeaways from this football game. Chiefs, in Kansas City, beat the Ravens 27-20. Isaiah Likely can't quite get that toe down inbounds. And that was not a play that would have led to overtime. You saw John Harbaugh on the sideline saying, we're going for two. So that would have been fascinating, that play, just to get that 2-point conversion to see what would have happened there. Because it's make it or you lose. And it's funny, obviously I cover the Jaguars fan. I remember a couple years ago, I don't remember the exact score, but it was Ravens-Jaguars, and the Jaguars scored on that final play towards the end of the game and went for two, and they got it. And it was just funny kind of seeing John Harbaugh saying, yeah, we're going to do that too. But Likely could not quite get his feet down in bounds. We've got some takeaways. These are not in order necessarily, but I've got 10 takeaways. So it was a sloppy game at times. Not even just at the beginning. Like, there was sloppy moments throughout the game. Patrick Mahomes had that uncharacteristic interception. Lamar Jackson unable to hook up with Zay Flowers in the end zone, wide open. I think that Zay probably should have sat down in the hole there, and that would have been a touchdown. There was a lot of Ravens having issues lining up type situations. John Harbaugh was not happy about that. I think that Ronnie Stanley I don't know how many times he got called for illegal formation. But it was sloppy. It was the first game of the year, but it was also, it had the feeling of a classic as well, because you had two great quarterbacks duking it out down the stretch, a lot of really good players making big time plays. I think that this was the type of game that you can get really fired up about to start the season. And I think tonight could be even better. Not saying that these are two better teams tonight with the Eagles and the Packers, but that game should have fireworks as well. It's going to be a lot of fun, but this was a great way to start the season, even though we had to wait just a little bit longer than we wanted to. Extra 20 minutes to get that thing kicked off, but I think it was well worth the wait, well worth staying up till midnight for that one. The Ravens pass pro, a little concerning. Now, they did just lose their offensive line coach tragically. Unfortunately, he passed away. That has to have an impact, certainly. And then you also look at the Chiefs just have one of the most dominant defensive linemen of all time in Chris Jones. They have good other players that can rush up front. They have a coordinated pass rush. But the Ravens have 3 new starters on their offensive line. And I think that's a concern. Lamar Jackson was under duress quite a bit. He was able to make plays out of it more often than not because he's Lamar Jackson. But that's a little bit of a concern. I think it is. That needs, and yes, there's mitigating circumstances, as we mentioned. But if you're a Ravens fan, you want to see that cleaned up over the next several weeks. And again, you're not going to be playing the Chiefs every week. We know that. But there's a lot of good defensive fronts in this league. Both of these teams have so many ways to beat you offensively. And I think that's really exciting. Whether for the Chiefs, whether it's Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, Isaiah Pacheco, just to name a few. And then the Ravens, they have, Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers. I thought Rashad Bateman had a really nice play in this game. Isaiah Likely, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson's legs. These offenses can be so multiple. And I think you're just seeing the tipping point of this. But I think it's exciting. I thought Derrick Henry looked pretty good overall. I don't think it was like a perfect start from a cohesion standpoint with like, how are the Ravens going to utilize Derrick Henry? How's this going to look? I don't think we really know the answer to that fully yet, but you did see it once he got down into that red zone inside the 5. It was game over. He was getting in that end zone no matter what early on. So I thought that was a promising start. I think that the Chiefs did a good job defending him, certainly, and trying to limit him. But I think that the Ravens are going to be fine in that regard. I think they're going to be able to get the running game going in a big way against most other teams. The Chiefs are just so well coached defensively. They have great linebackers. Like Nick Bolton is one of the most underrated off ball run defenders and just linebackers in general. Like he doesn't have great speed, and you saw that on the Isaiah Likely touchdown. But in terms of being where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there and bringing physicality, there's not many better than Nick Bolton, and they have several good linebackers. But overall, I think the Derrick Henry experiment's going to work out. He looked good physically. Xavier Worthy, wow. What's so cool about this, it's not like they were just force feeding Xavier Worthy the ball. They had specific plays dialed up in specific moments against specific looks that worked perfectly. It was a masterclass on how to use your rookie wide receiver, not force feed him the ball, but get him the ball in certain situations. And he got the job done. Big touchdown. Two big touchdowns. I mean, he was sitting on my bench in fantasy. That's all right. Drafted him for a reason. It was not for week one. It's for a long term, but I think Xavier Worthy in this offense, it was a perfect landing spot for him, man. I said it as soon as they made the pick. Like, if any other team drafted Xavier Worthy in the first round, I would be a little bit like, we'll see. With the Chiefs, I was like, no, that's going to work. It just is. It's going to work out because Patrick Mahomes is a great quarterback, because Andy Reid's so good at dialing it up, because they have great coaching. Xavier Worthy is a talent. He's not just speed, but he does have unbelievable speed. I was talking about the Chiefs linebacker Nick Bolton. How about Leo Chenal spying Lamar, making some plays, doing it? That was incredible. Lamar is still so dangerous, and he showed it. And I don't think that's a sustainable way for the Ravens to play necessarily. You don't want Lamar Jackson having to run for his life and make plays with his legs. So I think he had 15 runs in this game. You don't want that. But I thought Leo Chenal was really impressive as a spy. That was pretty cool to see. Good young linebacker. The Chiefs linebackers are very versatile. Nick Bolton, Drew Tranquil, Leo Chenal. I thought defensively for the Ravens, the one thing that was really concerning to me was they couldn't adjust to the ISO ball like at all. It was killing them. When they would get Rashee Rice lined up with a linebacker, I think they did it 4 or 5 times in this game. And there was no adjustment. That was difficult to watch because it was just like, okay, they're just spamming this. They're spamming it, and the Ravens couldn't do anything about it. So that's something they need to go back to the drawing board, certainly. Patrick Mahomes was not perfect. Obviously, that interception was very uncharacteristic, but he still made a ton of big plays. Had a buddy in the group chat last night saying Patrick Mahomes isn't playing well. Texted him back about an hour later. You sure about that? Sure about that? Because that was a perfect throw to Juju that should have been a touchdown. Juju wasn't it, and that would have been a tough catch for Juju. But that was a great play by him. Going up and catching his own deflected pass. It wasn't like it bounced right back to him. He had to go up and get it in between 2 defenders. That was huge. Finding Xavier Worthy wide open, obviously that didn't take a lot, but it was a perfect throw still. And he just made play after play to put the Chiefs in positions to score. And I thought that Mahomes was classic Mahomes outside of the interception, which was very uncharacteristic. And I thought he kind of turned it on after that. And their offensive line, overall, pretty good. I do think that the rookie left tackle, he had his fair share of struggles. Chris Collinsworth was talking about how he had a pretty good game. I don't think so. And that's, trial by fire going up against a Ravens defense. Even if the Ravens don't have like elite pass rushers, they still know how to heat up the quarterback with Zach Orr, who's been around this system for a long time. And a lot of quality young pieces, Odafe Owe, David Ojabo, a couple other guys. So offensive line play, Kingsley Suamataia, he's got a ways to go. But Mahomes, he made the most of it, and he's just got so many weapons to throw to. Isaiah Likely, man, what a fun weapon he is. And he was drafted in the 4th round a couple years ago. Coastal Carolina. I thought he should have been a day 2 pick for the record. But he was such a weapon for them, and his yak ability, his speed, his athleticism, his quickness at the tight end position it's pretty rare. But why do you have to poke the bear after the ball game? Saying if that's the best y'all got, good luck in the playoffs. Really? If I'm a Ravens fan, I'm like, dude, shut up. There's no need to talk mess to the Kansas City Chiefs. There's no reason to get put up on a bulletin board for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that was folly by Isaiah Likely. I really do. And will these teams see each other again? That's the final takeaway. I think there's a good chance. Now the Ravens have to go through a really difficult AFC North to get the 2 seed, 3 seed, whatever it may be, to win the division. You're going to have to get through some dogfights. And I think they will. A lot of folks have kind of moved in on the Bengals a little bit, maybe winning that division. I've thought about it. It's possible, certainly, because Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins is just unbelievable. Their O-line's improved. They do have good options as the third receiver when you talk about Jermaine Burton and Yoshivas. And then defensively, Lou Anarumo is a genius, obviously. He's a great defensive coordinator. He got good safeties back in the mix. I think they'll be a better defense, but I still think the Ravens are the class of the AFC North. Lamar Jackson with all these weapons, I still think that this defense is going to be really good. They have obviously got to be able to make adjustments, but I think that it's still a work in progress early on. I think it's going to be really good, though. Will they see each other again? I don't know. The Houston Texans are a team that I really think could probably take down anyone. They got to prove it this year a little bit in their second year with this team, but I think the Texans are going to be difficult. I think obviously the Bengals are going to be difficult. I think the Jags are going to be a difficult out if they make it. I think they're going to be a well-balanced team. No bias here, right? But yeah, that's going to do it. Chiefs, Outlast, Ravens. Those are my top takeaways from this football game. I thought it was really fun to watch. I'm so fired up that the NFL is back, man. We've got football tonight, college football tomorrow, all day Sunday, NFL football, Monday night football. Get to see the Jets and the 49ers. Man, what is Aaron Rodgers going to look like? I don't know. But I know he's got a lot of weapons around him, improved offensive line, very good defense. Will Hassan Reddick report? There's just so many storylines to pay attention to over the weekend. Fired up, y'all. Really appreciate you being here. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Y'all have a good one.